We'll get started with questions from Kent, and then we'll go to Jace. If anyone else has questions, please just raise your hand and I will call on you. Kent, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. You guys will be setting your roster. You guys will be setting your roster this afternoon. Have you decided whether you're going to go with special replacement players or not?
We have decided, how we're going to submit it is we don't have to do it if we apply for it. So we're going to apply for it and make sure that if we want to use it, that we would have it. And, we've got to spend the next little bit of time and see what's happened. We've been in practice, see what's happened around the league. So that's our next step. So as soon as we leave here, we'll figure some stuff out, but we are going to put in for it. And whether we use it or not, we haven't decided.
Jace, go ahead.
Hey, Cheryl, we talked about how the players on this team all trust and confide in Sil. Do you guys have a pretty similar relationship too? Because she talked about how in these last couple of years before you brought people in, you talked to her, do you think this person's a good fit? What do you think about them? How good is your relationship, I guess, in that sense?
I'd say pretty darn good in that literally everything that we're doing, Sil's involved, whether it's to, sometimes it's an opinion about a player, sometimes it's, what are we doing on this road trip? Do we want to leave at this time? Do we want to do this or that? So yeah, she's pretty much involved in everything. She's been here a long time and just has a really good handle on things and she's been a captain. So that's something we believe in.
Leo, go ahead.
Leo.
Lucas, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lucas.
Obviously,
were you talking, but you were muted?
No.
Oh.
That wasn't me. No, obviously, I think I know the answer to this question since you've been in practice and whatnot. But have you spoken with Mark?
I have to answer it. I have not. No, I haven't. No, I mean, well, and we've been in touch, so I don't know what happened today, but I was getting blown up a little bit. So, we've been in practice meeting and practice. So, I don't know. Did maybe the sale go through? I don't know.
Yeah, it reported that it went through. Yeah.
So we've been in touch. I'm glad it went through. I knew that it was progressing well and we've had some interaction.
Hobie, go ahead.
Hey, Cheryl, as practices wrap up, you've had some preseason games already, but is there a different air right now going into this season, knowing that from here on out, it's going to be the real thing with kind of this reloaded group?
Yeah. The excitement for the end of training camp is real. It is real. And really, we sort of shed that title of training camp a couple of days ago. We had a day off on Tuesday, I believe it was. And so when we came back, we said pretty much training camp was over. And now we started our prep for the regular season and started, thinking about our opponents a little bit. So definitely a different air. You could feel it and real excitement to be welcoming fans back. And just, it's just, definitely an air.
Sloan, go ahead.
I was thinking about this, Coach, as I was preparing for tomorrow, and it's kind of a general question about why you think Sylvia Fowles, or if you think that Sil is just so underrated in the league for her career. I mean, I put together, her entire career and I see what other people are saying. Maybe that's just kind of, a random sampling, but would you agree with that and thinking about her going into her 14th year?
Do I agree with
her just being underrated and maybe not recognized like the kind of center career she's had?
Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I'm not sure what it's based on. Maybe is it a concern for her health? Possibly. I don't know. I'd have to ask those people that do rankings. Sylvia Fowles is one of the leading, I don't care what analytic model you use, she's in the top 5. Every year she plays, she's been dominant analytically. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like I said, we joke about it a little bit. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter what people think, but it is mind-boggling. She's a really, really productive player, and so maybe it's a concern for health, but she's absolutely been underrated.
Any other questions for Coach?
I've got one if there's some
Sure.
time.
Yep.
So I was looking at some synergy numbers from last season, earlier this morning, and I think it's obvious when you watch the team that that you guys are really pretty solid in the pick and roll. I guess my question is that a nature or a nurture thing? Do you guys target players who are good in the pick and roll, or does your system make them good in the pick and roll?
Definitely not the second one. We have become, when we transitioned from the Simone and Maya perimeter, who, they were, decent in pick and roll, but it wasn't a big part of what we were doing. We played differently with those two. When we became more pick and roll, when we had Odyssey Sims, that really became our identity. And so now I hope we're a balance of both pick and roll and some off ball screening. But I would say that it's not a case of, that we target pick and roll players. It's more when you have a pick and roll player, you do more pick and roll, or if you don't, then you don't. So, it's got to be a part of your offense because that's the best way to create outnumbered situations. So I think because of that, we're going to be in it. We're going to, someone like Crystal's going to be in pick and roll. She's difficult to guard. Ariel Powers is really good in pick and roll. Rachel Banham's really good in pick and roll. But then we also have others that, maybe it's not their strength and there's other things they can do. So we'll have hopefully a balanced attack when we use our pick and roll.
All right, we'll go last question to Hobie. Hobie, go ahead.
Yeah, Cheryl, the team yesterday put out the video of Kayla getting off the plane and finally landing in Minnesota. Just how happy are you that she's finally here after playing overseas? And do you have a target date of when you think she could be on the floor for you guys in the first game?
Yeah, obviously really happy. And no, she's really happy. And she was really hopeful to be here to be able to practice a little bit, before the season tipped off. But, she couldn't control the other series. But really happy because we were thrilled to sign her and make her a Lynx. And it's fun to, kind of be together and start to be in the trenches together and see what this is all about and what it's going to be. Kayla's going to be in health and safety protocols. And, there's a couple different situations that we're looking into. But right now, as you know, she just landed. I don't even know what day it is, but just landed a couple days ago, and she will have to go through minimum protocols before she can get on the floor.
All right, that'll be it for Coach. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I have Sil right here. We'll get started with questions from Jace. And if you have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. Jace, go ahead.
I like this camera.
Hey, Sil. I guess I'm just wondering, like, I've heard a few different players mention it now, how you really are kind of like almost like their mom on the team. When did that, like, I don't know, that role, I guess, when do you feel like that you kind of took on that role with so many of your teammates?
I definitely would say probably about 2-3 seasons ago. They started calling me Mama Seal. I would prefer if they call me Auntie, but I guess Mama, Mama is not too bad. But it's more of my demeanor, so I pretty much embraced the role. I think the hardest part was just speaking often. I'm not a person who like to speak. I like to lead by example, but with the group that we have, it takes a lot of speaking to, and I think they rather hear me speak than hear Cheryl speak. So I kind of embraced the role.
They all seem to like, it all seems like it stems back to how much they trust you. What is it, do you think, like, how have you been able to form all of those relationships with your teammates?
It's easy. You just learn people, and it takes time to learn people and what they truly need. And I just make sure I pay attention and what they need at the moment. I try to make sure I provide that. But like I said, also coming in by putting in work. They see how hard I work day in and day out, and they just want to do the same and return favor.
Lucas, go ahead.
Afternoon, Sil. How's your calf feeling?
Calf is feeling great. We're gonna knock on some wood. I've had a great 2 weeks of practice, and I've been feeling good. So hopefully this can transfer over into the season. Hopefully I can stay healthy throughout the season.
Do we have any other questions for Sil? Obi, go ahead.
So after you played minimally last year, how excited are you just to get back on the floor and also being able to play in front of people for the first time in so long?
I'm extremely excited. I've been having all this built up energy to get back to this point. But at the same time, I think you have to be smart. But I am happy that we're back at home in Target in front of some fans. So I'm ready to go.
So can you understand why sometimes your teammates would prefer to talk to you over Cheryl if they have an issue?
I think because we out there and we're battling together. And then it's almost like your mom too. Your mom can tell you something wrong and they can keep telling you, but you try to like show them that they're wrong. But at the end of the day, if your big brother or your big sister be like, look, this is not how you do it. If you do it this way, maybe you have a better result. And I think they just like hearing it coming from the players instead of the coaches.
How do you decide then, like, what to relay to Cheryl and what maybe you don't need to relay, I guess?
I take it as how severe the situation is. If it's something that's dear to heart, I keep it to myself. If it's something that I can't quite figure out, then I take it to Cheryl with scenarios. I don't give names because I don't snitch. So like, hey, if you know, how would you handle this situation type thing? So yeah.
Any other questions for Sil? Go ahead.
Obi.
Sil, you mentioned about building trust through training camp and how that's a process, but y'all have also been without Nafisa, you've been without Kayla. How different do you think it's going to be whenever they are able to play and do show up to kind of get everybody back together and just kind of continue the trend that you guys will be on?
I don't think it's going to be hard at all. Just knowing Nafisa, she's been here in the past, so she's going to pretty much fit right in. I think the hardest part is for her just getting her up to speed with plays and stuff, as well as Kayla. But I don't think it's gonna be hard for K-Mac either because her personality pretty much matched with us all. And at the end of the day, we have one goal, and that's to win and have fun. And we're not worried about who takes the credit. So we're just trying to build that trust and making sure we all on the same page.
Alrighty, everybody, that'll be it for Sil today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sil. Appreciate it.
All right, that'll be it for today, everybody. I'll get this link out to you as soon as I can.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks, Corey.